So then now you're going to talk about how you're going to identify scams and avoid scams online. So scams are people who con you of the money that you really worked hard for. So we don't want anyone of you here, anyone of us here, or anyone who's listening to be scammed by anyone online. So the tips that you're going to give are tips that are going to help us to really avoid, to first of all identify and avoid scams. So maybe Dollar can give us the first point on how to identify scams.
Okay, thanks. Not every job that you see online is genuine, and not every client that you see online is a client. Some clients are just contractors like you or us, who has been given a big project but they are unable to deliver. So what they do, they come back to the site and sign up as a client, then post the jobs. Then you do the job, then you don't get paid. Just like offline, they are conmen. It's the same way. It's the same thing online. They are fraud and scam. They are clients. Contractors like us. When a client gives them job, they fail to deliver the job in time. So what they do, they come back to the freelancing site, they post the same jobs, then hire us, then later not pay. So there are different ways to identify a scam online. Yeah. So we're going to tackle each step by step. So one, I'll just tap on the first one, then Walter and James will take on the other one. One, it is easily to identify a scam online when you bid on a job and a client requests you to work outside the website. So by this, it raises alarm because you met on the freelancing site. So everything should be done online on that site until the contract ends. Because when you work outside, you're not guaranteed to be paid. As we said earlier, there's milestone and export. It's very important that you work within the freelancing website for you to be paid when the project ends. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I think another way you can identify a scam is when a client asks you to start on a job before officially hiring you on the site. So when you're hired for any job online, you'll get an email from the site telling you that a client, let's say Samuel is the client, you get an email saying that Samuel has hired you for the web design project from the website, not from Samuel. So if you get that, now you can be able to discuss with Samuel and start on the job. But if a client insists, no, don't, I'll hire you, I'll pay you later, you just start on these two design projects or this graphic project, then most likely it's a scam.
Okay. Another way you can identify a scam is a client can ask you to give him an extra sample. Most of the time, I think at one previous work of yours, what we have done before, it's enough than two. So he can ask you to give him 2 examples, then he ends up using them and not hiring you.
So what I think, Joyce, I can give the client even 10 samples when he or she wants, as long as they're my previous work. But I find it hard giving a client sample that has its own instruction. For example, I bid on a job on fashion. I want to write a blog for you on fashion. Then you give me a specific keyword to use to write a sample for you in order to access my skill. So that one to me I can't do it, because if I don't, I can only do a paid sample on a topic. But if you need my portfolio and everything, you can get it, even 10.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. The fact that if a client asks for a previous sample, it's okay. But if they want you to do a new sample on his instructions, then it's not okay, unless it's a paid sample.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they say if it's reasonably short. If a client still tells you to write 50 words on something, it's okay. Yes. I think another way of identifying scams is when a client rejects work for no apparent reason and then ends up using it. So this one is really difficult to identify, because some people just, when your work is rejected, you ignore it, you leave it alone. But sometimes it's good to follow up, even if it's a week or 2 weeks later, on your rejected work, especially one that was rejected unreasonably. There's a way you really know what to do If it's a graphic, there's a way you can know that your graphic is, this is really good. And then a client says something which is off, like your graphic missed perspective or something. So you can take a week after that and then Google that graphic. There's a way in Google Images you can Google a graphic and see if he has used it. In most websites, if they have used, someone has used your work without paying you, the site bans the person and refunds your money. So sometimes it's good to follow up on a rejection later to see if it has been used anywhere.
Yeah, you can always launch a dispute.
Yeah, you can launch a dispute and the site will sort you out. Yeah. So the next thing that we can mention on this is how to now avoid those scams. Now, after you've identified some of them, how they go, so we can talk about how to avoid, and of course, our main man Dollar here can give us something on that.
So basically, how to avoid scams is doing the opposite of everything we talked about.
One thing you can do to basically be safe from online scams is to, before you start any project, you do a thorough research on the client. Different websites normally have a review method. You can click on the client's profile, you can be able to see the number of jobs that they have taken, you can see if their payment method is verified, you can see feedback from other freelancers, maybe who may say that this is a great client, this is a bad client. So for you to be safe, it's good to go for that client who has good reviews, has hired many freelancers, has a verified payment method. So it's easier for you to make, not to be scammed with such a client. In fact, some sites will even give you how much money he has paid out to other freelancers. So the more he has paid out, the easier it is to not to be scammed by the client.
Yeah, and also on other sites, the site that, the popular site that you work on, there's 24/7 support, customer support. So when you still have doubts on a particular client, simply go to his profile. Each client has a unique ID. So when you click that ID, then you chat with the customer care, say, hi, I want to work on this project, but I'm still having doubt if this client will pay me. So you'll get support from there. They will tell you, no, go ahead, he has a good reputation of payment. Or no, don't go ahead. You can discuss with him and make sure that he leaves you a milestone before you start the job. No?
Yeah, and as someone had mentioned before, if a client requires you to do a sample on the particular job he's offering, you make sure that he has paid money before you do the work.
Okay.
He has put the money on escrow before you do the work.
Yes. Yeah, you make sure you get an escrow payment before doing any sample work. Yeah, I think we covered everything.
Thank you guys for tuning in and watching us in this live discussion. We really appreciate for your time. So as you plan to venture into online, at least you have the tips that you should have before you start it as a full-time. So just know this is nice, this is luxurious, it pays, and this what sustains us. From me, I'm Samuel Dollar. Bye.
Yes, thank you for listening to us. One thing I would want to just make clear before I go is to ensure that, to explain to you, thank you very much for listening to us. And one thing that I want you to know as you start your online business is that it's not easy. It's a job, it's a profession just like any other. So you need to go in knowing what you're doing. Take your time, perfect your skills, follow the different tips that you told you, don't be in a hurry, and eventually you believe that you're going to be an online guru. Thank you, and Walter Okolo, till next time.
I'm Joyce Mwangi, till next time.